What are we doing? What is this? Here we are, I said.
It's another one of those podcasts we put out every week.
What are those called?
Cody just said podcast.
Podcasts?
In the buff.
Oh, the name of the podcast.
It's in the buff.
What's the buff with
is
you?
the name of
It's
the podcast.
in the buff.
All right.
And I am in the buff. And I'm frigidly cold.
That's Scott, who's frigidly cold, and I am cold, and I'm Chris.
Oh, God. We shouldn't be recording. He can't even, he can't function. He can't do it.
He's
do it.
fine.
I can do
As soon as I get him talking, he'll be fine.
I can't work in these conditions.
You can and you will.
You have to,
All
by
right.
law.
I'm that easy. It's Kyle's corner. But first, you know what it is. It's comments corner.
With Cody.
Oh, yeah, comments. I forgot about comments.
You forgot
let me,
about comments?
Let me bring those up real quick.
Man, it would tickle my balls so much if
Shit, that was something I was supposed to talk about before we got over to
tickling
this.
balls?
No, not that. Something else. I was reading the comment and I went, oh, right, that was something I was supposed to ask you guys about.
We've been getting a lot of comments.
It would
this
tickle my
past week.
balls if that unlisted shanty got a comment.
It would mean somebody would have to click on the link.
I
It
did.
has like
I went.
7
I watched
or 8
it.
views.
Yeah, I watched it. It was a good shanty.
I agree.
Thanks.
I remember back when you first showed it to me. It was much worse.
Yeah, because, I had just started. And
It
hadn't gotten
unironically has
anything
been
aligned.
stuck in my head. Like, I keep getting the, I spent all my dust.
Drinking whiskey
drinking
till I
whiskey
bust.
till I bust. Yeah. That's been stuck in my head.
Gonna be honest, it took me until about 2/3 through the song to realize what they were saying.
Yeah.
Could not understand them. But
I should post like some lyrics or something.
Yeah. Lyrics.
Yeah.
Sing along karaoke?
I think the
there we go.
issue was that the voices were kind of slightly drowned out by the actual music.
Right.
Fair.
Anyway,
Fair.
comments, huh?
Yeah.
Comments.
Comments. First comment here. Final Fantasy X Kamari Celestial Weapon Guide Spirit Lance video.
Oh, God.
I like running out of the map when I finally catch all of the butterflies. Something we mentioned that you should not do in that video.
Why not? Why don't you do that?
Because
Next
it
comment.
resets your progress. Final Fantasy X Omega Ruins Guide video by Jay Nels. I always end up grinding here ASAP.
Did he say
'Cause
grinding?
it's a grinding here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a gaming term, guy.
As in,
No,
grinding,
it
grinding
really
AM.
does surprise me that we seem to be getting more and more comments on these videos that these Final Fantasy
We
ones.
don't post.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, funny that you mentioned that, Scott. Final Fantasy X Celestial Weapon Guide Calidbog video. Angel for Dove. Which Tidus weapon require winning Blitzball match? Not the story, but a option Blitzball. Just wondering. And I replied to that one with the double buff channel. Waka's Celestial Weapon requires you to play a lot of Blitzball. If you need help, we have a guide.
Wow.
Illiterate fuck.
Wow, okay. I don't know who you were talking about there, because that was not the question they asked.
Yeah, it was.
They said, which Tidus
Or
weapon...
maybe it's not.
They said, which Tidus weapon requires you to do that?
I just assumed he hadn't played the game before and thought the Tidus weapon was the Celestial weapon.
Interesting.
Okay, so I am not the expert on the subject. I just assumed that there was a
Yeah, our expert's
Tidus weapon.
gone.
There was
Actually,
just a
we should
Tidus
probably
weapon
address
that you got from
the-
playing
the-
Blitzball.
The lack of the Final Fantasy elephant in the room. John is not here. We can't.
Right.
Yeah, he couldn't be here for the start, but he did tell me that he would be able to pop in later. So we should expect him to join us.
Oh.
Wait, are you for real?
In the middle of this?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. All right. Fuck.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Next comment in the buff episode 23, Killer Clowns from Cyberspace. Monsi's comment here saying she was in the D&D session. The Killer Clowns are just absurd. The mirror shenanigans, using circus stuffs, everything was just beautiful. Thank you, Monsi. Why is that
Good
not
lord.
liked? I'm gonna go ahead and like that.
I like that
Hell
one.
yes.
I remember you telling me about those before the game started. I was excited to hear what was going to happen with those clowns.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of that stuff, like I told to you,
Yep.
but then a lot of the stuff, like I just kind of came up with on the fly.
It sounded like you had to.
And I was like improv in some of that stuff.
I couldn't tell.
Well, that's why it's so fun. Is you
Sure.
can't tell where the prep begins and the improv begins.
Amen. Amen to that.
Same video. Kyle coming in here, throwing down the gauntlet. You guys want boat fights? All right, I have boat fight stuff.
Yep.
And then coming in, editing the comment, clarifying some indecent exposure laws, saying in the area only say you need pants on.
Is that in respect
Clarify.
to
Yes.
L.A., I think?
No, that's here in town.
Oh. Well, great.
Is that a gender neutral edict?
It doesn't specify.
Well, there you
Free
go.
the breasts.
We finally #freed the nipple, guys,
We
Incredible.
here in town.
did it, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't feel like getting it was long. The law was very long to have to read through. I edited that down significantly.
I imagine.
The TLDR.
Colon Sausages commenting on episode 22. He says, when I was a kid, I tied sewing thread around a grape and tried to swallow it to see if I could poop it out and do a full body floss. So I relate to you, Cody, for trying to swallow string.
Oh my god. You guys are maniacs.
That's not exactly the same thing, Colon Sausages.
How did you get to this age?
I am proud that you were comfortable sharing that, Colon
Wow.
Sausages. Our last comment from 2 hours ago, Final Fantasy X, Kamari Celestial Weapon Guide Spirit
God.
Lance video. I gave Kamari a oh, this is Lucius Irving.
Okay.
I gave Kamari a custom spear by arduously killing Dark Yojimbo. Thank you for that irrelevant comment, Lucius.
That's wonderful, Lucius.
Thanks,
I'm glad
bro.
you killed Dark Yojimbo and did that thing that you said.
Yep. That's it for comments.
Wonderful. You know what else starts with a C? Corners.
Who?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no.
Kyle?
Kyle does not
Kyle
start
also
with a C.
Oh,
Oh,
it's that sound though.
It does. You
Mm.
do have some alliteration there. It is my corner
Yep.
today. So today, I would like to go through some a topic very near and dear to, at this stage, all of our hearts.
Hopefully not Hitler.
Not again,
no.
Kyle.
No, we're talking tabletop RPGs today.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
And I wanted to do a little bit because as a player, as a DM, and most of you guys can relate to both of those positions as well, there's a lot on the table, and I kind of wanted to just do a little meta analysis between the group and see.
Okay.
There's been some stuff going on. Everyone knows D&D. There's been some stuff going on with D&D here lately. I'm sure
Talking about
Yeah,
the OGL.
Absolutely.
that dates us a bit, and so a lot of people have been looking to branch out, and I figured it's a good time to talk about the subject as a whole rather than just the one particular game that we play.
Sure, absolutely.
So I've got some questions here regarding the entirety of tabletops, and I'm going to pose them to you guys so that we can kind of have our various different opinions put forward on these aspects of the game and the hobby as a whole.
Sounds good. 1 second, Kyle. If I could just interrupt you really quick. I'm getting word that John is going to be joining the call, so he'll also be able to
Oh my God.
discuss
Yay!
tabletop RPGs.
Oh my god.
He kind of knows what some of the questions are. Woo!
We are at 11:45 that John just joined the call
Perfect.
for me.
John, hello.
What's up, dude?
I thought you weren't going to be here. You lied to me.
Yeah.
John, are you drunk?
I think John's a little bit more
Did
drunk
I just
than
say so many mushrooms, bro?
Okay.
Also, are you recording? I guess I should ask that.
How good or bad do I sound?
You sound weird.
Yeah, you sound like you're talking into a
I'm
big
also
empty
good to go.
room.
I'm high as shit.
Oh, dear.
no.
Perfect. This will be entertaining. All
And I've
right.
only had Coke for the last 4 days.
What in the world is happening? I'm so confused.
So, John actually couldn't be here today. So, what I decided to do was do a little sleuthing and look at all those artificial intelligences people have
You
been
did
talking
not.
about. And so, I've come up with a John chatbot so that he can be here even when he's not here.
I like how I immediately recognized something was wrong.
Are you people real?
Oh, God. It sounds so like him, except it doesn't.
This is incredible.
All right, this is great.
Is
Please
this getting
tell me
picked
this
up
is
for
being
the
recorded.
viewers?
I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, you have every bit of his audio from somewhere, don't you?
Oh, there is just hours and hours of John audio
Wow.
that we can pull from here.
Awesome. Okay,
Oh,
it's
man.
Oh, shit.
all
Yeah,
right.
it is pretty crazy, John.
This is pretty good.
I'm just saying.
He's just saying.
He's just saying. Okay. Let's put a handle on John Bot for a bit. So that I can actually get around to asking some questions. And he can chime in when we
I
address
disagree.
it correctly. I don't care, John Bot. You're not allowed to disagree. We own you.
Oh my god.
You know what? I'm not doing this. I think you're gaslighting me.
The difference between this and having John on the podcast is marginal at best.
There's not entirely an enormous difference.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Oh my
I
god.
know, right? Dude, he realizes it.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, Chris, compose yourself. We don't have time for your breakdowns.
Great.
I feel like I'm listening to a Fallout conversation.
What does that even mean?
Wait, where did he even get that from? Where did he say that?
We've got, what, 6 years of you guys talking into a microphone? All the shit on YouTube. That's where it comes from.
Okay, all right. Kyle's corner.
Okay.
Can I talk?
So, obviously, you guys know that they play D&D 5th edition. They play a game over, and that I'm running is Pathfinder 1st edition. So, I would like to know, generally, what systems have you guys played? Just in general.
I think Chris should start this one
Okay.
because you've played so many.
I have played a lot of different systems. I've played Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition.
I've wanted to play that.
Pathfinder. I've played D20 Modern.
I had a feeling Chris was gonna be the one to point it out.
Yeah, same.
There was this, I forget what it was called, but it was solely based on like trying to put anime into Western TTRPGs, right?
Okay.
What, Chris, you want a fucking reward?
Yeah, do you?
Here's your reward. That's my McDonald's from earlier.
Then why?
I can't do this.
How's it feel, Chris?
I can't work under these conditions.
Let Chris talk for a minute so that he can actually function.
I disagree.
He's having way too much fun. He's having way too much fun with the John button.
There's the Pokemon Tabletop United system. There's several like homebrew ones. Like there was one for Mega Man Specifically, there was one. for
God, these sound
Digimon.
ridiculous.
We're getting some
Very
weird
big
shit.
realm.
I agree.
Yeah.
There was a variation on D20 Modern that was Naruto themed. Like
Okay.
there a bunch.
Out of all of these, what do you think worked the best? Like, other than the non, big name ones.
Well, the ones that I've heard of that work the best, I haven't gotten to play yet because nobody
Right.
wants to run them. Which are Shadowrun
Yeah.
and Call of Cthulhu. I want to play a Call of Cthulhu game so bad.
I've kind of been interested in Call of Cthulhu as well. It's very different from what I've played or run.
I feel like you could run Call of Cthulhu, Cody, really well.
This is so much better.
Great.
Oh, John, you have experience with Call of Cthulhu? I didn't know that. You think it's a better system?
He does.
Yes.
Honestly, it'd probably work for some of the stuff he wants to do.
We could do trying out Call of Cthulhu, like record us playing it and put it on here.
Well,
Maybe.
my list is easy. The one I play the most, by far, is 5e and Pathfinder. But I've also done 3.5, obviously. Everybody's done 3.5. And D&D 3.5, I should say. But very briefly, I did a one session in Shadowrun with you, Kyle.
Right.
Oh, and very, very, very briefly, we almost played that Star Wars one.
Right. Cody was running that.
God, this is just like Star Wars Episode 5.
It is just like Star
That's
Wars
right,
Episode
John.
5.
We were
It was.
playing in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I would like to chime in that I am currently in a Saga Edition Star Wars campaign.
So how many different systems are you up to there, Chris?
Yeah, do you have like a running count?
20?
Jesus.
Okay.
I'd call you out on it, but I can't count that high.
You can't. I know we
Okay, hold on. Why are these so perfect?
No, he's just guiding you. He's playing you. He's guiding you into answering the questions that John can comment on.
Correct.
No, I think John's at Cody's apartment.
I actually have John's answer to this question. He answered this for me a little bit ago, which is
I swear to God, if you
3.5.
also add a John chatbot, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I do not currently have a John chatbot. Cody, that leaves you. What systems have you played?
Right, so my list is very similar to Scott's list. I played a little bit of 3.5 a long, long time ago, played a little bit more Pathfinder 1st edition not so long ago, and then I played through a campaign of 5e, and I'm currently DMing a game of 5e, but I've also been thinking about picking up 2nd edition Pathfinder. I bought some of the books, and I like what I see. I'm kind of eager, but it will probably not happen for at least a year because we've got to finish up my campaign, and then we got to play through John's Underdark campaign, and then I'll be back up again. So
You've never sounded like such a fucking nerd.
I agree.
Oh well, John, that's kind of hurtful. We're both into this hobby. If I'd say you're just as much of a nerd as me.
I want to kick this guy in the nuts.
Oh dear.
Okay. There's
Okay.
something.
Goddamn bitch.
Okay, John. Now you're getting a little belligerent here.
Cody is currently having way too much DM fun because he just found a new toy and he gets to be a DM again for 20 minutes.
John, I think we need to calm or better yet, redirect that. Why don't you tell us what systems you've played?
That's only going to make things confusing.
Why so?
I do believe I actually answered that, which was he's played 5th edition and 3.5. He's currently playing Pathfinder 1st edition, but that's equivalent to 3.5,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Well,
Um,
is he currently playing Pathfinder?
Well, no, not currently, because his character died.
Yeah.
Oh,
he'll-
is that what happened, John?
He's dead.
Yeah.
I have played at this stage 3.5. Played Pathfinder 1st edition and 2nd edition. I also like it. I have played All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is a kind of zombie survival game.
Oh my! Wait, do you
Um,
play as a
I
zombie?
want flesh.
Excuse me, John.
I want flesh.
Why is there a flesh button?
That is bizarre. I've played a few other one-shots. I've done Shadowrun. Never ran a full campaign or actually played in the game, but it is one that I've wanted to play for a while. I've looked into several different systems. I have so much stuff in that regard of stuff I would like to play, and I've read the rules for, never actually played. There was one one-shot campaign, not campaign, but one-shot game where somebody ran where it is, I don't remember what the game is called, but you are essentially running a gas station in Yukon Territory in Canada, and just weird shit happens.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game, and I recommend that we give it a shot once I can figure out what it is. But yeah, that's about all I've got under the belt.
You
right
just
now.
saying that, I think this is 2 podcasts in a row, maybe, that I've mentioned Welcome to Night Vale.
Okay.
Maybe? That might have been earlier. It was at some point. I've had a weird couple weeks, okay, guys?
I can see a pretty solid argument for that.
Great. Thanks, John. Thanks for contributing. At some point I've mentioned Night Vale. And you just saying that, my brain immediately went to that's the kind of tone I feel. You're at a gas station and weird shit happens.
Right.
Anyway.
So, I guess next up, the easiest question to follow that up is, what is your favorite out of all the stuff you've played? Chris, this is basically only going to be a difficult question for you.
Yeah.
The rest of us don't have enough to really comment on this in any meaningful manner.
I could ramble about this subject.
That's fair. Whoever wants to go first can.
I'll go first then.
Okay.
I
I'm
thought
gonna be
Chris
honest.
was going to.
I have no idea where I am.
Yeah,
You
we
never
kind
do.
of figured.
You're here on the podcast, John, and that's what we want.
Yep.
No fucking way, dude.
It's pretty. I'm serious. You actually are here. We are having a conversation with one another.
Yeah.
I don't know if he believes me. I don't know if he believes me. So my favorite, it's actually kind of difficult to give you a clear answer, because I love 5e and Pathfinder. I really do, both of them.
Very.
There are things that infuriate me about both, though.
I know, you were just ranting earlier about how easy it is to not die in 5th edition.
Yeah, we kind of accidentally our way in your campaign, Cody, before shit hit the fan and everybody was in the Astral Sea. We kind of accidentally our way into having a really solid team comp. We have a good healer, an auxiliary healer, a couple, I'll call it 2.5 main DPSs, and 1 full utility between 2 halves of a character.
This is great.
It is pretty great. And with that in mind, I find that we kind of accidentally our way into this situation where I'm not sure we can actually die without it feeling like bullshit.
Arbitrary.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
You think so? I'm sure Cody might disagree with me, but we just feel really strong. There's been some times where it's really close, but even in the close ones, it's close for a person. I feel like Reese will never die. He's invincible because he has absurdly high AC.
Yeah, and he surprisingly has a very high HP as well.
Aggravatingly high.
I was gonna say, he rolled absurdly high for everything but his strength, didn't he?
All right, no homo. This is not a bad looking dude.
Reese is pretty good looking.
On his stats and for his appearance as well.
I won't go that far. I'm not really into, fantasy creatures, but
Right, but I assumed he does attract a lot of ladies, though.
Only with the kids.
okay.
Okay. Well, John, what do you mean by that?
That means she's of age of consent.
Oh, good.
Okay,
God,
at the
that
very
must have been a
least,
slip of the tongue there.
I guess.
John
Alright.
John AI is not too
Dude, we've
good.
had like fucking 8 kissing scenes already.
But she can consent, though. She's at that age.
You'd think, hopefully, John, right?
I hope.
Right, John?
Okay, so anyway, to continue answering the question, I love the simplicity of 5e. I think everybody will agree with me. It's really simple and just, you can pretty much do exactly what you think you can do. And there's a lot of wiggle room for the things. There's like a lot of room for the rule of cool. On the
Right.
flip side with Pathfinder, the thing that infuriates me about Pathfinder is the total lack of wiggle room. But at the same time, I love that I can abuse that system. I love seeing all the little ways I can move around in Pathfinder and like go with the flow of using the rules and meticulously getting all the stupid things and following all the stupid rules and building some insanely powerful character with all the stupid feats that don't matter until you put them together. Then they matter.
I have seen some absurd things, yes.
Yeah. So that's my answer.
Is you don't have a favorite because everything has its strengths and weaknesses
Right.
so far in what you've played, at least.
Sure.
All right. That's fair.
Even the weaknesses that D&D has to me are there for accessibility, I feel. It
That
makes
is
it,
true.
a lot of people can just pick it up and play, and I think that's great. I think more people should play these games because it's just a really satisfying way to either experience or tell a story. Or both.
It is. It can be, yeah.
Anyway,
Cody? Or Chris?
What was the question again?
what's your favorite system
the-
that you've played?
Yeah, of the systems you've played.
It's probably gonna be 5e, just because it's the one I've had the most experience with, especially since I've been on both sides of the DM screen. I know it gets criticized for its rulings, not rules nature, but if the rules are looser, I don't have to worry that I'm getting something wrong all the time because I know there's a right answer. At the same time, though, it does give me anxiety sometimes when I wonder, well, what did I do the last time this situation came up? But yeah, it's my favorite because I've played it the most and I've had the most fun with it.
My big criticism for it in that particular regard, with it being the rulings versus rules problem that I always run into with that one, is kind of on the meta level, where it's really hard to have consistent rulings across tables, which is kind of what 5e sells itself on, especially with things like Adventurers Guild, where your character can kind of slot into various different tables, and it really I don't think many people do that, but that's part of what made it so popular, is that you can just kind of pick up and play with anyone. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be in your friend group, but that results in like really inconsistent rulings on what you can and can't do.
A lot of home rule.
Not
type
even
of stuff.
homebrew, it's just like, hey, can I do this thing? And the DM just says no.
No, I mean like home rule type, not homebrew. Like a DM has his own rules.
Yeah,
That kind of
there's
thing.
that. Or just be like, hey, can I like climb this wall for whatever reason? I've got like some rope. Can I make like a grappling hook or something? The DM's just like, no, you don't have the ability to tie a rope or whatever. I don't like it's dumb. Stuff that I'm not using a good example, but like that's the kind of thing that sometimes irritates me in that regard. There's not consistency to it.
I just remembered this. Some people listening might not have heard this classic 5e condemnation, but this is something I bring up all the time. The idea of, and again, this is an example of a strength that 5e has, but I find it as a weakness, so let's say your character tripped and hurt their knee, and you need to jump up this ledge. Well, when the DM tells you to roll, he's going to be like, hey, or she, whatever. They're going to be like, hey, you have disadvantage on this roll to climb up this wall because you just bumped your knee and it hurts. That's great. Let's go with another scenario. Your character just had their leg chopped off and they want to climb up this wall. When the DM's like, all right, you got to roll, you have disadvantage on this roll because your leg was chopped off. And I feel that there's no like rule in the game that tells me that's not correct. There's no rule.
Are you that fucking naive?
I am. I feel that naive. But on the flip side, it's on the onus of the DM to be like, well, you can't climb this wall. Your leg was just chopped off.
I'd be hard-pressed to say you could stand up.
Yeah. But rules is written. There's nothing that tells
I
me
love watching people get hurt.
I bet you do. You are a bit of a sadist, I feel, John.
John's gonna love
Wait
this.
a second. I actually want to ask... I want to ask John a question. John, you're a virgin, correct?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm also good to go.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on.
I also had another question. John, so... I know this is really personal. This is in the buff.
This might have been like this could be big.
It could be. We're in the buff. You always say it. We're going to be vulnerable, okay? We're going to be vulnerable with you right now, John, okay? So, John, I just need to know, you made up the whole story about the concussions, right? You're just an idiot?
Oh, no.
Jackass.
But I'm right?
This joke has gone way over my head.
Okay.
We're using words that are too big for me.
I don't think I ever used a word longer than 5 letters.
I think that shows it right there.
In a roundabout way, the answer has been found.
Yeah.
You're right.
I know. I know.
All right,
Chris, what's your favorite?
Of the things you've done.
My favorite. I just love playing them so much. I do.
It doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite.
Chris, are you having a good time?
I am.
If you've run something where you're like, this has become my baby, that can also be a thing.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, I don't want to say Call of Cthulhu because I haven't played it.
Yeah, of course.
I just know things about it. I just want to play it so bad.
I'll accept that as an answer if you're like, I am salivating to play this game also.
Excuse me?
Sure.
But I think I'm going to go with 5e because I played RPs for a while now. And I believe I first started with 4th edition in high school.
Disgusting.
You're the only person I have ever heard who's actually played 4th edition that I've met in real life.
Disgusting creature.
You want to like do it?
What? No.
I would much rather not play.
I would love to go through each edition of D&D.
You're wrong.
To be totally honest, I think it'd be fun. But I think I've had the most fun playing 5th edition. So that is my favorite, just from the memories I have.
So you're saying that you've had more fun in 5th edition than in Kyle's game? Kyle right here is hearing you say this?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Oof.
Yeah. Big oof. Big oof.
Big oof.
Next question.
Okay, so these are going to all end up starting to fall on various different levels of spectrums now.
Like autism.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have an autism button for John's bot?
God, my balls itch.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is gonna fall on this line of how much of do you view these as a game versus as a medium for storytelling? And which end of that, like when you play games, which end of that spectrum do you prefer to be on?
Well, how I see it is definitely, like, whether it's a game or a medium for the game or a medium for story is solely on the DM's shoulders. Like, I don't mind saying that, Cody, I am interested in the story that you were presenting to us. I want to see what happens at the end. With you, Kyle, it's definitely more of a game where we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants and getting in wacky adventures.
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely treat it as a game more than I do, a venue for drama.
As far as what I prefer, again, I'm just going to have a non-committal answer here. I have a lot of fun when it's just a game. I have a lot of fun when it's a story being told to me that I get to participate in. And it's a little bit of both on either side anyway. It's not like it's just a game in your game, right?
Right.
Again, that's my non-committal answer. I just love these RPGs.
It's on a spectrum somewhere, and you kind of just sit in the middle.
Yeah.
That's fine. Cody?
It's tough because so I would like to be a better storyteller rather than just being a game master, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking...
I'm sorry, what?
You're not getting it, John?
John, I would like to be more... I would like there to be more narrative focus in my game. I feel like when we do RP, I feel a little hesitant, like I'm holding back.
I feel like I sense that.
I definitely do that, too.
And it just kind of feels like if I got over that hurdle, if I got a little more comfortable in the hot seat, I guess, I
don't mind calling Justin out right now. I can tell he's super uncomfortable with it too.
Yeah, and I pick up on that too, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go all in on the storytelling because then I know he's not having the most fun, and I want all of you to have fun.
That is one of the balancing acts you always end up having to play with as the DM. Like, you're always balancing how do I keep players engaged with the gameplay mechanics and how do I keep them engaged with the story, because some people are gonna lean one way or the other.
And now that I mention it so often, but Critical Role, now that they need the bump.
They need it.
When I started watching Critical Role, I was like, oh, I get it. This is the ideal, at least for me. This is what I want. I want frickin' 7 people at a table having fun telling stories to each other for months at a time. That's what I want right there.
Yeah, that is one of the benefits that I definitely feel is missing from my game is just the in-person aspect.
Sure.
Which in theory I could rectify at this stage. Well, no, never mind. Can't do that now.
Oh.
I forgot. Matsu's here.
One of them's in India.
One of them's in India. That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It was one of them was in Kansas. Now there's one in India, and that's not gonna happen. But I feel like there are things I can do on Roll20 or other virtual tabletops that I do not have the time or capacity to really do for an in-person game. That isn't everybody's at the table on their laptops or whatever. That is definitely missing from when I hear about the stories you guys tell.
Mm-hmm.
Or see from, the stream stuff.
John, any input?
I prefer something physical.
Yeah.
I see. You like to be at the table as well?
Or were you talking about something else?
Yeah, we were talking about something else. That is true. John does prefer in person.
Yeah.
Chris, where do you sit on this line of gameplay versus story?
I flip flop.
Oh yeah.
It's whatever mood's on bed.
Like a
whatever mood I'm in, changes from session to session on whether or not I want to role play more than think of it as a game, or if I want to have a game and not think of the role play. And I've noticed this with RPGs that I play, video game wise, right? So like, Skyrim, for example, the beast that will never die, right?
Is that an enemy in Skyrim?
No.
Tish.
No, that is Skyrim itself. The thing is, though, that I'll get to a point in the game where I'm like, okay, I'm done, like, doing quests for a little bit. So my character, I have decided, is a florist. So I go and I pick flowers and then I go and sell them. For like hours until I'm like, all right, I need to do more side quests. Which I love. I love doing that. I love doing that so much.
Well,
so
I'm going on a bit of a tangent here.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that kind of gameplay, which is to say, not that games provide that kind of gameplay. I appreciate that mindset that people have when they play RPGs, where they're like, I can literally be anything, and maybe just today I want to be a fucking florist, so I'm just going to do that. But the problem is, I'm going on the tangent. Here it goes, okay? We're on this roller coaster now. I fucking hate Skyrim. It doesn't support that kind of thing. Because you can't just be a florist. You're going to get attacked by bears and wolves and have random people run up to you on the road while you're picking flowers, asking you to hold their stuff they just stole. So it constantly breaks your illusion, even though it's presenting itself as this game where you can be whatever the hell you want. You don't have to be the Dragonborn. But you do. You are. Anyway, you got another question?
I got, like, more than we have time for.
No, let's just keep going. Like, I can talk about this for a while.
I know we can. I want to know how you guys go about building a character, and I do not mean that necessarily from a mechanical standpoint. If you want to approach it from that direction, that's fine. I want to know your entire process from, I have an idea for a character, to whatever steps you take to go from there.
Who wants to go first? I've gone first every time. Chris, you go first.
Changes. Like, it's
we're noticing
usually...
that with you, Chris.
What?
We're noticing that with you, Chris.
I like to be different. I like doing things differently. I like change. So I go for it all the time, right? But for the most part, it's usually here's a character that I would like to do, or this is or sometimes it's this is the person that I want to play as. So in those instances, it's what best goes with that, and then it's finding out the mechanics that then go into that, and what I need. So like this last time, Dr. Tenor, for him, it was like, it went through several different ideas of what I wanted to fulfill in the party. And then I landed up on, I want to be a healer, right? And I want to be, and since it's Pathfinder and I can be busted as shit, I can be like, all right, I want to be the best fucking healer.
Right.
Kyle knows Pathfinder systems. Kyle, what do I need to be? Vitalist.
That's like
Chris.
cheating. Do your own reading.
To be fair, I have, 500 gigs of fucking material for you guys to peruse through? There's no way he's getting through that.
Mm-hmm. But, like, there's a part of me, there's the romantic in me, right? That would love to, and I want to do this. I have an idea for a campaign that I want to do, and I'm going to make you guys do this for your characters, right? Where you are pretty much forced to start at the who is this person in the world, and then class and what they do and stuff come later.
I don't even know what you mean.
So like
he's talking about build the character's backstory before you figure out what they're doing.
So like if
how they
you
contribute to the party or what have you.
All right, if I was like, hey, be a person in Victorian era England, and you were like, all right, I'm gonna make this nice little like florist guy, right? And then I'm like, all right, cool. Zombies attacked. These are the things around you. And that's how we'll get your level 1 in your what class you pick.
Uh-huh. I'm not a huge fan of that idea.
I feel like that is hard to... Like, that would take a lot of prep work from everybody in ways that people are unaccustomed to. I think it would be interesting. I'm not sure that it would go well, but I would try it.
What about you, Cody?
Honestly, for me, it kind of starts with like a class feature or game mechanic that really gets me inspired. For example, the character that I decided to make for John's Underdark campaign, I just read the Artificer Armorer subclass, and I'm like, that is really cool. And then I start to build the character around that.
I'm kind of I'm kind of in a similar boat, honestly. I have an enormous backlog of like mechanical things I want to try, and typically what I'll do is I'm just on lookout for any game that's being pitched where I can look at whatever kind of facet of the world building the DM has done that I can kind of latch onto and just sit in my own little bubble over there and then see if I can work in one of these numbers of builds I've got in my head in some way into that.
You want to know... Oh, go ahead.
I like one of the things I did with Jess's campaign, for example. I was like, I want to be a gunslinger, and I wanted to be one of the kind of like fast talking gunslingers. With all the one-liners, like I just wanted to throw tombstone quotes out at people. Is basically the idea behind the character. And then she went through and built an entire world as fantastic. And then I looked at it and I'm like, this is not optimal at all, but I'm going to play a kobold. Because she hasn't fleshed out kind of what kobolds are like in this world. And so I get to kind of have fun with that. And instead of a fast-talking character doing all kinds of stuff, he's kind of orphaned while being surrounded by family in a way. And he's simultaneously very uncomfortable with all of the things that regular people are used to because he comes from a society where, you know, you hatch out of an egg and like 6 months later they hand you a pick and say go work in the mines until you're big enough to actually have a job because the dragon wants gold. And so, you know, and then he fucks up and invents a gun. And because they're new in the setting, and it's like I'm now the inventor of, you know, bang sticks, and then my entire colony gets wiped out, and I now have to worry about who, like every single thing I say, I have to think about, has this character ever experienced this before? So we are currently trying to rescue a large number of children that are being enslaved. Don't question it. It was horrifying to learn about. And our go-to plan was for me to dress up as a child and get abducted. And the first thing I did was went and bought a rubber ball. And I realized that this character, this is the first toy he has ever had in 35 years of living. And this is the first thing he's ever had for himself that is just a plaything. And now this ball just lives with him.
Interesting.
There's something that you mentioned in there that I really latched onto. So when I'm running a game, I really appreciate it when a player makes a character that fits into a part of the world that I haven't fleshed out all that much. So, like, when John and Andy decided to play gnomes in my game, I just got all of this inspiration to go and investigate who are the gnomes in my setting. Like, what is their culture? What is their history? Why are they the way they are? You know, John is a rock gnome and Andy is a forest gnome. I want there to be not only mechanical differences, but narrative differences too.
Like, how are these two different cultures?
Right. But the obverse of that is that nobody decided to play a halfling. And, like, I don't even know if halflings are in my game.
Right.
Because I've contributed almost no thought into how they fit into the world.
We certainly never met one.
Yeah, we
Right.
have.
Oh, well, you've met Hildigus and Hilmagus.
Yeah.
Oh, I just assumed they were gnomes. I'm gonna be real.
No, they were halflings.
Oh, well, there you go.
You want to know what my starting point for my character in John's Underdark campaign was?
Sure.
Drows are hot.
Yeah,
I want to play a drow.
you're a pervert. See, for me, hearing you talk about this kind of stuff, both of you, and you, to a lesser extent, Chris, because you didn't really touch on what I'm going to address about what Kyle and Cody said, but I'm not creative. I've said it several times. I can't do this thing where you've seen the aftermath of what happens when somebody's just like, make a character and we're going to play that character. I was a paladin in John's one-shot, and his whole thing was that he was a paladin. He was a big, strong guy, and he was a paladin, and there was nothing else. I'm not saying you guys had all that much depth to your guys' characters, but in comparison, I might as well have been a plank of wood with a sword and a shield. My characters are things that like sit in my head for a really long time. Even Ezra, I'll say, was basically the same thing as the paladin. I just had fun with Ezra in this. I say I had fun, but I gave him a personality, and so again I made his backstory while we were playing, basically, because I just didn't at the time. I wasn't super confident in 5e, so I didn't look at any. It doesn't matter. Point is, characters sit in my head, and a great example is my frickin' backup character for your game, Cody, is Stranger, Levi Stranger. The idea for Stranger has been sitting in my head for genuinely upwards of 5+ years.
Well, before this game started.
I had this idea a long time ago I don't even know what I was doing. I might have been watching some show, an anime or something. But anyway, the idea occurred to me. We're like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a wizard that used this was my seed. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a wizard that used his identity as his weapon? Like, how would he even do that? Like, that's such a cool concept in my head. It sounds like a cool thing to say, but what would the wizard even do? How does he use that as a weapon? And over the course of 5 years, that image is built in my head to Levi Stranger. Another great example, as again a wizard, is Oliver in your game, Chris, that unfortunately was fatally struck down by lack of motivation in the game. But that character, I'm going to give that even more than 5 years. That character was sitting in my head for like, probably, realistically, 10 years, where I just thought how a cool necromancer guy would act in one of these games.
Honestly, Scott, I'm
Yeah.
saying you don't give yourself enough credit here. Those are incredibly creative ideas. It's just you're not doing it, like, spontaneously.
Well, that's what I'm
Which
saying.
is
I
fair.
can't do it spontaneously. It's these things that it's like a seed that grows in my head, and I just sit there, like with Levi Stranger. It finally bloomed as a backup character that I probably won't get to use 5 years after I initially had the idea. And on top of that, another cool thing with Stranger is, I think the thing that really solidified him as a character in my head is this. I don't mind saying this. I've told you guys before. He's like a demon summoner. And the aesthetic that really latched onto him as a character in my head was he has this wooden mask, and that's his like focus to cast spells. And the reason that I latched onto that is I thought of how cool and actually creepy and like terrifying it would be for him to like put the mask on to cast the spell and like smear blood over it. And like him casting the spell is to summon the demon would be like the mask begins to split. It's just a simple wooden mask, and it begins to split down the middle and stretch. And then like a crazy, gross, like bleeding arm drags its way out of the mask and starts pulling itself out. And that's how he summons a demon. And I'm just like, man, that is metal as fuck. And I love that idea.
That is a cool idea. It sounds like a great summoner build for playing Pathfinder.
John, any insight into how you build characters?
This is the time that you talk to God about this, not me.
Oh, come on, John. You
Well,
can
we
come
don't
up
have
with
a god
something
bot.
like what would your character look like?
She looks like a camel.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
that's interesting. And one interesting piece of information about her.
She's actually a mass murderer.
Oh,
Okay.
a mass murdering camel.
Okay.
Why don't you play this character, John?
She's dead now.
Oh, wait, hold on. How'd she die if you didn't play her? Hit the button, Cody.
Dude, fucking pub, bro.
Oh, I see. It's killed many people.
So until it killed her.
Yep.
What's her name?
Wow.
yeah, John. What's this camel lady's name?
Ellen Hawhey?
Oh well, I'm surprised you had that. You had that ready to go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
It's, you know what? We've been going a good amount of time. John, you wanna sign us out of here?
well, no, hold on. Before we end,
yeah,
I don't know if this is going to be one of your questions, Kyle.
Sure.
I think this will be an easy one. It's certainly an easy one for me, I think. Who's your guys' favorite character that you've played?
Oh,
NPC
boy.
or otherwise for the DMs?
Okay. You go ahead. You go ahead and answer what, because I got to think about this.
Well, for a PC, there's really only one choice. That was Hart, my Hexblade Warlock from John's Curse of Strahd campaign. He's really the only character that I've played with any sort of commitment or longevity. For NPCs, it's got to be Lubash the Ogre.
Yeah, Lubash is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love playing Lubash so much, and I think you guys love seeing Lubash as well.
Absolutely.
I also love playing the GIF just because I like talking in their voices and making them say
Oh my
silly
god,
sounds.
he's doing the
And it's
voice.
He
just
is.
a lot
Guys,
of
he's
fun.
doing that voice.
He is, John.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the voice for the GIF is you specifically explained your reasoning for it. Like, they got so much lip that they have to talk through all the mass on their face. Kyle, you got one?
I think so. For the DM, for the NPCs, I think, generally, I would say just the Skaven as a whole.
Sure.
They're
Little
just
chaotic energy.
they're just pure, like, unadulteratedly evil villains in ways that, like, you're never going to be confused. You'll still be aghast, but you'll never be, like, surprised to find a Skaven eating a baby. Like, they're just that awful, and it's fun to just be that, you know, and also they have that pure chaotic energy of they only do things with half as much effort as it takes for it to be anywhere near functional. So it always just backfires in their face, like Wile E. Coyote style.
Mm-hmm.
The number of Skaven I've thrown at you guys that have blown themselves up because they rolled poorly.
Even in that very first session, there was like a handful.
Mm-hmm.
What about a PC that you can think of?
I don't know that I have played a PC in any campaigns where you guys would have been privy to them. Of the ones that I can realistically think of, probably my favorite character. I will say Drazine is getting very, very fun. He's my kobold gunslinger in Jess's campaign. Just because I get to be an obtuse little lizard running around with a rubber ball and a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But I've not gotten a whole lot into the weeds with him yet. I would probably say it's my other character that I'm currently playing, which is Penny, from another space campaign. And I initially started out from the premise of I knew we were going in with a space campaign, that there would probably be psychic powers and stuff, and I knew one of the classes that was going to be included was one of my favorite classes in 3.5 and in Pathfinder, which is the Soul Knife, which I believe kind of got ported over into 5th edition as well, because the DM at the time was like, I can't not include them because Jedi. I didn't go for that. I decided at the time that since AI characters were going to be allowed, I had to play what I referred to as the psychic trash robot.
Great.
And it kind of built out of that. And originally it was going to be, a lot more like almost telekinetic focused. And then mechanically I was given the option of, be the tank of the team. And that became so much fun that I am now considered in the game as just the absurd. I'm almost like the Winter Soldier from Marvel in like what my character turned into, which was not my choice. The DM kind of thrust that upon me. But I have been able to do things like, there are specific individuals that are reincarnating constantly in that setting that are like incredibly powerful movers and shakers no matter who they are, and they all get identified by their like special birthmarks and the special like weapons that are passed down for them throughout the ages, one of which is a gun. And we happen to have the current person's incarnation who's supposed to have that, and we kept it from them, and they've been hunting us down for the better part of like 6 months in game. And it was so satisfying to be the person who was so done with his shit when we kind of had to have a big truce in the middle of it, and just shot him with his own gun and walked away.
That seems really destructive. And this is your favorite character? This trendsetter?
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. I've played, the kind of psychic super hobos as well.
I'm beginning to...
See a theme?
I've always known this. Isn't that great? I've always known this. But I think I just now, like, fully realized it. I've never played in a game with you that you weren't the DM.
I know. And it is unfortunate I've never gotten to do that. I've tried on, like, I played one session in one of John's campaigns with you guys. It was a different campaign than the Curse of Strahd campaign.
That's right. That's the one time.
I didn't get to do a whole lot, and it was just a scheduling conflict kind of thing that wouldn't allow it, and I think John's like, I can't handle that many people, and it's hard to work you in. And
yeah, that was literally his first experience as a DM, too.
Right, and I would love to join you guys. It's just a matter of I don't have the like compatible schedule.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to play with you guys. I don't know what I would do. Like 5th edition doesn't really inspire me, but I'll play it. I don't know what I would bring to the table. Might bring Paladin. I have like an idea for like a character for a Paladin with an executioner's sword. I just love the concept of just like this big ass sword that his only real use is to behead people, and it's just inscribed upon it is something along the lines of, when I raise this blade, I hope that this poor sinner is granted eternal life. that they, to free them from the hell they live in now.
It's pretty hardcore.
John, favorite NPC that you like to play?
I think we did this.
My butt.
Yeah, I
see.
thought so.
And
Yeah.
favorite PC that you like to play?
The penis.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Last question. What kind of dice do you guys like to use for your games?
I don't even know what you mean. I only ever had the, I don't know what you call it, enamel? Like the just normal plastic dice.
Okay. I meant, what is your favorite type of dice to use? And I mean, faces or,
Oh, D12.
how the system works. You would want to use a D12? What if,
I thought you just meant your favorite dice. I prefer the D20 system. I kind of hate the D6 systems, if I'm honest.
Okay. I mean, your favorite dice is also a D12. I like that answer, too.
My favorite dice is a D12. I love the way it looks, and I love the name of it, dodecahedron.
Chris, Cody, favorite way to use the dice versus favorite die?
I like a D20 system,
Okay.
I think it's straight and to the point. I think percentile systems are trash, and are super confusing.
I hate
because
to
I've
break
played
it
it
to you, Chris, but D20 is a percentile system.
That you know what I mean by that, you fucking ass. But that being said, I do like the 2D10s together.
All those your favorite?
Yeah, I never get to do them.
Clerics get to. I think in 5e, that's the only one I know of that gets to. Maybe chaos magic people do.
I love that Chris's answer was, I hate percentile dice systems, but I like percentile dice.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. John, how do you feel?
The end.
Great.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Goodbye,
See you
everybody.
later.
Be seeing you.